It is a Monday. It is the early line on the SportsGrid Network. What a weekend we just had. Why? The Masters wrapped up and Rory McIlroy went back-to-back putting on the green jackets. The NBA regular season is over, which means the playoffs are beginning this week. The NHL coming down to their final 2 to 3 games this week as well, and so much more. So many hot topics to get to. Major League Baseball, what's wrong with the Yankees, what's wrong with the Mets, and away we go. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri. Got you for 2 hours. Those hot topics, they're going to roll this week, Joe.
Yeah, well, they are, Donnie. I mean, anytime you can get playoff basketball in center stage, and a couple of weeks, and I believe by the 18th of the month, we'll have, not even, right, 5 days, we'll have NHL playoffs. So get ready. It's going to be a fun next couple of months for sure, crowning champions in both sports.
Letting it rip, having some fun. Games mean that much more. Love to absolutely see it. But you know what is great on a Monday? Sometimes you stayed up late. You watched a lot of sports this weekend. You need a hot cup of Joe with the best topic of the day, Joe, delivered fresh right now.
Well, Donnie, the PGA Tour finally, I think it's safe to say, has its new king. And it could not have happened at a better time considering the absolute vacuum at the top of this sport right now, because yesterday Rory did something that only the truest legends of the game have ever accomplished. He put on the green jacket for the second straight year, becoming just the fourth man in history to go back-to-back at Augusta. And we're talking about a Mount Rushmore of golfers that include the likes of Jack Nicklaus, Nick Faldo, and yes, Tiger Woods. And when you have been covering it as long as we have, Donnie, we remember the hype, right? When Rory came up as, an 18, 19-year-old kid, idolizing Tiger Woods. It seems like it was just yesterday, but it might as well have been 30 years ago, because don't forget, when he was on the scene and he won his first major, we all anointed him the next Tiger Woods. And we expected him to walk onto the tour and just start gobbling up all them major championship trophies. But as we learned there, it started off pretty well. But boy, oh boy, it feels like there was just collapse after heartache, after failure. But for 14 years now, and it's hard to believe it's been 14 years, Rory has now come finally to Augusta, the one trophy and the one jacket that has eluded him all those years. Not only does he finally break through last year, but he comes back again and handles business yesterday. Absolutely unbelievable. I can still remember when he shot 80 on a Sunday at Augusta, and we were like, never going to happen. Career Grand Slam is never going to happen. Well, my goodness, you want to talk about a guy that looked like he lost all that weight this week. He went from being uneasy around that golf course to an absolute looseness that made him look untouchable, including even when things started to go south yesterday, Donnie. You watch this guy just never panic, didn't have that deer caught in the headlights look. He just handled his business, and he survived Amen Corner better than anybody else. We have waited a long time now with 6 majors under his belt. He is 36 years old, and the idea of him hitting double digits when it comes to majors isn't some sort of pipe dream anymore. It's a statistical probability. And let's be real about the betting board here if we can. The odds makers want to keep telling us that Scottie Scheffler is the best player in the world. And look, the guy is a machine. But he's currently sitting at home with his, second place finish in a major? Why, Rory is the absolute alpha on the PGA Tour. He's now the face of the tour, and while Tiger is sidelined dealing with his own off-the-course disasters, Rory has stepped into that void and proven that he is the only guy worth the price of admission right now, certainly at the ticket window there. So forget about the Scottie Schefflers of the world. If it's Rory McIlroy or Scottie Scheffler, I am not, Donnie, betting against Rory McIlroy anytime soon. The guy is a machine, and he is now the face of the PGA Tour.
And how about, in the past, American Express membership has its privileges here. So winning that championship allows you to play Augusta early and take the last couple weeks off when you have all that money. You don't have to play in Texas, as we like to say. He got a couple extra rounds in at Augusta. It certainly was perfect for him. But understand this. He was running away with this, Joe, up 12 shots, minus 12, I should say, -6 was the next closest competitor. Completely collapsed on Saturday and then collapsed again on Sunday, only to rebuild on that back nine and win the tournament. That's how you get it done. Adversity is what Rory fought through. Great stuff here, Joe, to start the week off, which brings us to the early lineup, which does include the Masters tournament with Rory McIlroy's back-to-back jackets. A -12 here. Scotty Scheffler took second at a -11. That's 74 on Friday. Wasn't able to recover, even though he shot 65 and then 68 on Sunday. A great tournament all the way through. Fantastic weather. Crowns another champion in Rory.
Yeah, and the adversity is what did it. The difference between Rory now at 36 years old versus Rory at 26, Donnie, is that round he had on Saturday, it would have destroyed him in years past. But you know what? Didn't destroy him yesterday, and nobody else could catch him. And maybe that is the most impressive thing about what he did for 4 days at Augusta.
Absolutely. You know what else is impressive? No more people sitting out for load management. The playoffs are here. The brackets are set in the NBA. Real basketball officially starts right now.
Yeah, well, we'll see. If we get 140, 145 points in a playoff game, then you better check it out, Adam Silver. We'll see, but my goodness, I mean, it's done. No more trash basketball here. But we'll see. Something tells me these playing games are going to be an extension of the regular season, Donnie.
And no more trash basketball, hopefully, in Milwaukee, as Doc Rivers is out as head coach. I remember talking a couple weeks ago, I just might retire. And we said, no, you're not going to retire. You're going to be into a forced retirement, which means you are fired. 32-50 season. The Bucks coach is out.
Least surprising story of the weekend right there, Donnie, because we told you on Friday it's coming. And he even told you as much in his last press conference there that, yeah, I'm going to hang out with the grandkids. The grandkids don't want nothing to do with you, but neither does Milwaukee, apparently, and that wasn't that hard to figure out, Donnie.
Joe, strike while the iron is hot. For Doc Rivers, the iron was ice cold. Dusty May wins a national championship. That agent was going, boop, 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 boop. Hello, word manual. You know what time it is. And he's like, yeah, I do. Paid and staying. Dusty May for Michigan.
Yeah. Take advantage while you can, because you're a 500 season away from being benched again. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. It's the nature of the beast. So strike while the iron is hot is absolutely the correct phrase.
Joe, the dreaded hamstring injury creeps in again, and this time it's Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers. Maybe it was just a cramp. No, it's not. He could be down for weeks now, Joe.
Yeah, well, it might be weeks before they get another win, too. They couldn't win with Brandon Woodruff on the mound. Had the lead, couldn't blew it again. Yeah, Milwaukee off to a rough start here so far, but that's even worse there with Yelich not being available anytime soon. That's a shocker, though, because he's almost always healthy.
Yeah, Yelly's going to miss some time. Hey, it's early in the season. I guess if you're going to get injured, that's the time to do it here. Denver University, another championship in ice hockey, building a dynasty out there. It's 11th national championship, and it actually beat Wisconsin 2-1 to get it done.
Donnie, I remember growing up with some hockey players, man, and that was the dream school. And I was like, Denver? Like, they're like, no, man, when it comes to hockey, it's Denver. And all these years later, guess what? Still very much the hockey school to go to.
Isn't it crazy? Like, you look like Denver University, you figure it'd be like a Big Ten school, just a prominent, but it's different in hockey, man. Like Boston University is like, they don't compete on anything. Well, they compete in hockey. So does Denver University. Phil Gardner, 3-time Major League Baseball All-Star and former manager, passes away at 76.
Legend, man. I can remember. I remember when he was a player. I remember when he was a manager. One of the good guys in the game for sure.
Absolutely. That wraps up the early lineup here, but so many more hot topics are going to be on the way. It's the SportsGrid Network. It's the early line. It's a Monday. It's Donnie. It's Joe. It's the way we get down. Start your week in style, which we're doing now. Stick around after the break. Let's have some fun. Your Monday spread lines, including a look into the future in the association, because why? The playoffs are now. They're going to start up tomorrow night and Wednesday night, the play-ins, before we get to the, I guess you call it real play-in, with the top 6 seeds that are already minted into the playoffs. They rejoin the field, and away we go. And starts with the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's take a look at Wednesday night's game here, Joe. The Orlando Magic in town to take on the Philadelphia 76ers. Are the Sixers healthy? Somewhat. Is Joel Embiid going to be there? No, he's not. Will he be back for a playoff run if they keep winning? We don't know that either. But the one thing we do know, Joe, the Philadelphia 76ers popping up as a 1-point favorite for this game on Wednesday night's play-in. Now, also remind them, Joe, how the actual playoff structure goes, who needs a win, and also if you lose, can you still survive?
Yeah, well, that's the big question, right? And if this was under normal circumstances where we knew we were getting a fully healthy Philadelphia team, meaning Joel Embiid, in his recent appendectomy, we didn't have something like that to worry about. I don't see how they don't open a 4.5, maybe even 5-point favorite at home in this spot against Orlando. But that's not what we've got here. We're going to have to depend an awful lot on Tyrese Maxey and Paul George to carry the offensive load here. And listen, they have been pretty good without Embiid. If anything this year, they've shown us the opportunity, hey, they can play. The Orlando Magic, they are very physical. And Franz Wagner back here with Boncaro now, they could do some damage here. Styles make fights, right? This is one of those games where the styles are going to be real interesting. Can the Magic bully their way on the road to a home? I think the spread tells you everything, Donnie. Wouldn't shock me if Orlando goes off the favorite, but I'm not expecting some sort of high-scoring, high-flying game either. I think this game lands under the total. I think it's a rock fight, and I think that will benefit the Sixers as opposed to trying to get into some shootout here, because Orlando has been playing in some shootouts, and they have shown less defense and more offense this year.
Different game once you get to these playoff structures. You see that total there listed around 220, 219.5. Let's get to the next game we'll talk about in the play-in rounds, which starts tomorrow. That's the Miami Heat and the Charlotte Hornets. The Heat are the road team. The Hornets are the home team, and they're favored by 5.5 points. Now, typically, Joe, when we see a Heat game, we're talking mid-230s, high 230s, even into the 240s as a total. Look at that, sitting at 226.5. The favorite, Charlotte Hornets, at home here in the play-in round. What's your spread line for this game?
Well, what it was is I watched this game open. It was, 5.5, Donnie. And then all of a sudden, I watched it jump to 7.5, only to get steamed right back down to the Miami Heat. And listen, Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat, forget about what you saw in the regular season. They were just here a year ago, Donnie, as a 10 seed, right? Having to win 2 games to get into the postseason. And, well, hello. That's what they do. Not a lot of experience here on this Charlotte team, but they are home. And listen, the Miami Heat they scored more points as a franchise this season than any other season in its existence. They're playing a different brand of basketball, but boy, oh boy, it is hard to look at this team. They'll be ready for it. They've been awful down the stretch, but my goodness, giving them 5.5 or 6 points feels like an awful lot. And I think the market realized that once this thing got bet up to 7.5, because here we are, Donnie, this morning at 5.5, even 5s now starting to pop up.
Let's take a look at some Major League Baseball action tonight in the Steel City of Pittsburgh. It's a 6:40 start. Nice temperatures, around 75 degrees at first pitch here. Cavalli is going to be on the mound to take on Paul Skeens, and 8 out of every 10 tickets right now on the money line coming in on Paul Skeens. However, overnight, books like FanDuel had a minus 245 price point. Take a look at that graphic now, Joe. Minus 225 is that price point for Pittsburgh, and a total of 7.5. Skeens on the mound to take on the Nats as a heavy favorite tonight. What's your spread line for this one?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Nats are rolling here, right? My goodness, what a weekend it was against the Brewers. They're starting to hit the ball well, but boy, this feels like a different weight class here, having to go up against Paul Skeens. Although I'll tell you something, they handled Woodruff pretty good yesterday, the Bats here, and the Pirates coughed one up yesterday in an epic way against the Cubs. Either way, I don't think we're going to get a ton of runs in this game. I think Paul Skeens certainly will be able to limit what the Nats can do here. So maybe a first 5 under, because once it gets to the bullpen like we just watched, yeah, all bets are off, as they say with the Pirates.
7:40 start here in a first-place game and a last-place team here. Why? Boston in last place. Minnesota in first place. That's sort of a role reversal on what we anticipated that to be. Crochet, the lefty, will be on the mound for the road team, the Boston Red Sox, taking on Mr. Ober at home today. That total, Joe, listed at 7.5, but a heavy favorite for the road team, Boston Red Sox, at a minus 176 price point to minus 178, depending on where you're shopping at. 2 straight wins here for the Sox, looking for 3 in a row with Crochet on the mound. What's that spread line for you tonight, Joe?
Yeah, well, they coughed one up in that first game against St. Louis, but bounced back nicely over the weekend to get it done there. And it started with the pitching. I mean, the pitching handled the bats there. And the Twins, listen, they've been mashing the ball lately here. So it's not like they have not been able to score some runs. You know, Ober kind of got lit up there a couple of times. And we know that... Oh, he's not in Crochet's, even in the same conversation. But Crochet's also, you know, not quite in midseason form just yet, but he's getting better. And I do think that obviously the Red Sox have the advantage, but it's the price, Donnie. I mean, you would have thought with Crochet on the mound against Bailey Ober that we'd be laying a much bigger number with the Red Sox, but we're not. I'd much rather lay the run line with the Red Sox in this spot because I just don't think the Twins are going to have a ton of success against Crochet in this one.
Athletics heading back to Sacramento on a 5-game winning streak here. They're going to take on their rival Texas here. Eovaldi's going to be out going up against Severino. If we take a look at the lines overnight, Joe, minus 138's in the marketplace. Still similar at most outlets now as a favorite towards the Texas Rangers, and a total that is listed at 9. The red-hot Athletics at home. Can they pick up another victory here, Joe? What's your spread line for this one?
A terrible spot, Donnie. I mean, they just played an entire East Coast trip, and then they had to fly out from Citi Field yesterday. Now they got to play a game tonight on the West Coast in a minor league ballpark, which Severino hates. Something tells me advantage Texas here.
Yeah, good baseball card setting up today. The heat is on the East Coast here. Will that continue for those hitting waves in baseball? We'll find out. But let's get over to the Masters and say, what happened? Rory, what a Sunday roller coaster. We'll cover it all next, right here on the Early Line. Right back out of here on the early line for a Monday. Back to Augusta we go. The weather was sensational down there. The tall pines out there, the azaleas in full bloom, and a back-to-back champion at the Masters, which is Rory McIlroy. And you say to yourself, like, there's been a lot of great golfers and a lot of champions roll through there. How about the first back-to-back champion, Joe, since 2001, 2002, which was Tiger Woods. Tiger and Rory, legendary status there with the Green Jackets now.
I mean, it's, he's now in a class all his own, right? He's won more majors than anybody since Tiger Woods. I mean, and he goes back to back after he went 11 years. I mean, you think like he's been on tour for 20 years, Donnie, but there was an 11-year stretch after he, took the tour by storm early on where he couldn't sniff a major. Like, he couldn't sniff anything. Like, he'd win the occasional dirt here or there, but just seemed to kind of lose himself. But now he is, 36 years old, back to back. He's going to contend in every major for the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, can he get to double-digit majors? Would it shock you? Because it wouldn't shock me either.
Golf, such a psychological game, too, Joe. After the first 2 rounds, you're sitting there, he's got a 6-shot lead. I'm going to cruise in this thing. And before you know it, that evaporated on a Saturday. But here's Rory talking about, hey, that perseverance, which I know I have now.
I just can't believe I waited 17 years to get one green jacket, and I get 2 in a row. It's just sort of the way. I don't know. I think all of my perseverance at this golf tournament over the years has really started to pay off. It was a tough weekend. I did the bulk of my work on Thursday and Friday, but just so happy to hang in there and get the job done.
Sometimes all we ask for these major championships, and even just sitting back watching a college basketball championship or an NFL Super Bowl game, just keep it close here, but we also want to see the superstars perform. That leaderboard was awesome, which included Scottie Scheffler sneaking into second place. And how about this statistic? Scheffler did something that no one at the Masters has done since 1942. A bogey-free weekend. 9 birdies, an eagle, and 0 bogeys. You give me that statistic, Joe, before the tournament started. I'm laying everything I have on Scheffler walking away with the easiest victory at the Masters, and he didn't even win it.
Oh, listen, I can make the same argument that last year at the U.S. Open, he was the best golfer that didn't win. And because if he would have made one putt more here or there, he left a lot of shots on the course on Thursday and Friday, and that's where he lost it. And Rory's right. But the thing about Rory was, as 6-shot lead heading into Saturday, he wasn't playing well. He got really lucky on Thursday and Friday. He was spraying the ball all over the place, hits a tree, bounces back, hits a guy, comes back. He got a ton of breaks. He didn't play his best, and you know what? It was still good enough to win another green jacket, which is, I think, even more impressive.
Yeah, let's hear from Scottie Scheffler here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. To me, it doesn't say much more because I've competed against him for a long time, and you don't win the amount of tournaments that he's won out here without being pretty resilient. So, I mean, having a 6-shot lead at Augusta is never easy, and losing that is obviously something difficult. But at the end of the day, when you teed up here on Sunday, he was tied for the lead to start the day, and he went out and had a solid round and did what he needed to do in order to get it done. And I knew going into today, I was going to have to do something special if I wanted to catch him or Cam. And, I was close, but, just a few shots here or there.
Scottie Scheffler said, last year, making no bogeys around here, you're going to have a pretty good score, and he certainly had that. Just wasn't good enough to overtake the eventual champion, Rory McIlroy. But how about this? We talk about some of the great escapes here that you might have on Sunday to win a golf championship. Hao Tung Lee, quintuple bogey 10 on the par 5 13th to move from tied 10th to tied 38. Many times you go out to the Muni, Joe. I'm picking up my golf ball at a double bogey. Let's move this along. You don't do that in the pros, Joe. You got to play it out.
No foot wedges allowed there.
Nope.
Couldn't. No balls dropping out of the back pocket at Augusta, my friend. But he's been like that all year on tour too, Donnie, where he looks like you ain't catching this guy. Then all of a sudden he has a hole like that, and it's like, okay, never mind. Yeah, back to earth here. But he's going to be around a long time. That kid can play.
PGA Championship outright winner odds here. Scottie Scheffler as the favorite. Never too early to talk about the next tournaments here, Joe. But also, I'm one tournament down where I told you we're fading Scottie to not win a major championship. Got close in this one, but now he's the favorite once again in the PGA.
Yeah, yeah. How did Bryson do this weekend? Oh, yeah, that's right. He was nowhere to be found
Ah.
because he's printing clubs on a 3D printer. How about you spend a little less time with the 3D printer and a little more time trying to keep the ball in the fairway? How about
Yeah,
that,
how about you
Bryson?
3D print Augusta National in your backyard? That should help
Yeah,
you out. I wonder if it can be done at this
exactly.
point. We'll be right back talking some NBA playoff action next. The association getting it rolling this week in the playoffs. It just means more, as the SEC would like to say here. Teams winning, teams going home, teams trying their best. And also, the first round of the NBA playoffs typically takes 4.5 months to play because, like, one game every 4 days to make sure you hit every television window so we can all watch. But the one thing we had an issue with this season in the NBA, which was just about as bad as it gets, is teams actively not trying to win. Here's a tweet from ESPN Insights, Joe. It is also the first season in NBA, it's might as well be the WNBA, in NBA history, in which 8 teams had a win percentage of .333 or worse. Look at that, Joe. A horrible league with 8 teams here basically punting every single night.
Ty, we've been doing this a long time. I do not remember ever in NBA history in a season where for the final month, I'm looking at 19s, I'm looking at 20s, 22-point spreads in a game with a month left to go, Donnie, and we're looking at going, yeah, it's ridiculous. We had teams battling each other, both teams actively trying to lose. I mean, that's what the NBA gave us for the back half of the year. Congratulations, Adam Silver. I'm so glad it is over here, Donnie. You have no idea this regular season.
You know what I'm interested to see, too, because like we understand that the way you're supposed to get better is if you tank, you get the draft picks. The draft picks can't say no to you, essentially, like free agents can. But the one thing, like the Wizards, with 17 wins here, they traded for a couple superstar players and actively tanked and shut them down when they were eligible to play to make sure it's worse. Yep. So do we just get that catapult from Washington next year if they win the lottery, get the number 1 overall pick, and then just show up with a couple all-NBA type players? That'll be interesting to watch because you know what happens if that works, Joe? even though there's, oh, you can't tank at this point, which you're still going to be able to tank no matter what the NBA does, which every organization goes, let's just do what the Wizards did. Midway through the season, we'll break up our team. We'll tank the rest of the way. We'll make up fake injuries and or pay fines for our superstar players, get the best overall draft pick, and then reload the following year. That'll be something to watch, but it's just a bad premise in the NBA where we're not asking for you to be the best team on a year-to-year basis, but just play the players that you have so you can watch a decent basketball game. We didn't get a lot of that, but I'll tell you what we did get, a lot of Jokic statistics this year, Joe. How about this? Nikola Jokic is now the first player to ever lead the NBA in rebounds per game and assists per game in a single season here. Yet he sits 50-1 to win the MVP.
Yeah, triple-double machine here, right? Has enough games. I don't... It's going to be very interesting, Donnie. So much has been made about this award, and it cracks me up given the fact that most of these guys... I don't know how much they care about it. I really don't. I mean, whether they played 65 games or not, I don't think it matters to them. And so, I mean, I think what matters is what happens from this point on for the rest of the season here and whether they make it to a championship and win one. But I could be wrong, but I don't think he's losing sleep over it one way or the other.
The tournament bracket has been set, Joe, and if we take a look at the play-in tournament in the Western Conference, it's the Clippers going to take on the Golden State Warriors, and then also the Phoenix Suns taking on the Portland Trailblazers. In the East, it's going to be the Hornets taking on the Heat, and also the Philadelphia 76ers and the Orlando Magic, and away we go, Joe.
Yeah, off and running, Donnie, is what they say here now, finally. But again, bad, inconsistent. How Orlando doesn't beat the second and third stringers off the bench of the Celtics yesterday is beyond me. But okay, now you got to go and take on Philadelphia, this is just bad basketball across the board with these play-in teams.
By the way, I do like this, Joe. Like for round number one, like we get fired up on a Saturday and a Sunday here, and I love the way the NBA actually does this because you tell them, look, I yell at the NBA for 6 months out of the year. The league stinks. I want nothing to do with it. All I'm going to do is handicap by fading the public and picking up some dollars here. But once we get to Saturday, Joe, 1 o'clock game, 3 o'clock, 3:30 game, 6 o'clock game, and 8:30. Now, hold on. You know what? Let me get into this right now for you as well, Joe, because we'll get to Sunday in just a second. But we're always led to believe that you just got to put games at 10 o'clock on Saturday. So why in your biggest games, Joe, where you want the most people watching, that all of a sudden we get something that makes sense here? A 1, a 3:30, a 6, and an 8:30 start on a Saturday. That sounds like just about every single person can watch this basketball game. Why don't we have these structures more throughout the season?
Yeah, I agree, Donnie. It made a lot of sense there yesterday, even as bad as some of those games were. It made a lot of sense, though, right? Get them all to start right around the same time. Everyone go to bed by 9 o'clock. All the games are done, and everyone's good to go, Donnie. Everybody wins. So I do like the simple fact that maybe you showcase some of the better games earlier and one primetime game by 8 o'clock. I think we can all agree on that, no?
Yeah, so then let's go ahead and look at Sunday's slate. Fantastic, Joe. 1 o'clock start there. Fantastic, Joe. 3:30 start. Fantastic, Joe. 6:30 start. Then you bury the Spurs, which everybody wants to watch Wemby at 9 o'clock. So half the country won't watch that game. But we put a game on 8:30 on Saturday night where people can watch. And then we go 9 o'clock on Sunday. Stupidity reigns sometimes, Joe. It just does.
Yeah, and almighty dollars, right? Because that's what it's all about with them, is let's figure out how we can maximize across the board. And kudos, you're not going to have as many eyeballs on that late game as you would have if it was the, 6:30 game, Donnie.
You know how excited Spo is, Joe, talking about this game going up against the Hornets? Let's hear from him.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it is like the NCAA tournament. It's like FIBA. You know, it's harrowing. It's nuts. You have to absolutely embrace it. It makes you feel alive, that's for sure. If you're a competitor, you don't want to have to go. Like, you don't want the season to go the way, it can to put you in the play-in. But once you're in it, it's exhilarating. And you have to embrace the competition, embrace how every single possession really does matter. It's a game 7. And so I just want our guys to take on that challenge, and do whatever's necessary, to get that one. You can't think ahead of it. You can't think of, 2 up, 2 down. You have to stay in the absolute present moment of every single possession.
Important it is to win these games in the play and other playing games. We have the Trailblazers and the Suns and the Magic and the 76ers, Warriors and the Clippers. Joe, give me your excitement level as we line this up. And by the way, if we take a look at the Sixers game, right? I'm a Sixer fan. All the air's out of the balloon with Joel Embiid probably not going to play, where the intriguing part was, if the Philadelphia 76ers, Joe, could be healthy with their starting five for the playoffs, they might be a dark horse. Now that is like beating a dead horse, not the dark horse now with the Sixers.
Listen, it's again bad basketball, Donnie, with some of these playing teams. The only game I'm actually interested in seeing is going to be that Portland and Phoenix game. I think that's going to be very interesting here because Portland, hey, you show me a little something. You know, I don't think either of those teams are going to go very far once they get out of the play-in, but the reality is nobody expected either of those two teams to be in a spot to make the playoffs, much less be as competitive as they were. And Portland has shown me a little something here down the stretch of the regular season. And considering the way their season started, this is impressive work here by what the Portland Trailblazers have done.
Let's squeeze in a little Jamal Mosley, head coach of the Orlando Magic right here.
8 players available tonight. How do you explain what happened?
You got to give them a ton of credit. Those 8 players played hard. They played their hearts out. They played together. They moved it. They shared it. And they made a ton of shots. You know, some of that was given to them by us. We turned that ball over 19 times for 23 points. That's part of it. Again, they had a ton of shot making going on, and then us turning it over was a part of that big cause.
I know you're still digesting this game, but what could you say about Philadelphia having to go there in the 7-8 playing game?
Yeah, I mean, this is the opportunity right now, and that's all we can do. You can't control what happened in this game tonight. This one is done, and so you got to make sure you focus your time and attention and energy all on the Philadelphia 76ers right now.
You gave a lot of credit to Joe before the game to be able to pull off a win with guys deep off your bench, 8 players like that. Like, what stood out
Orlando
about
Magic coming to town to take on the Philadelphia 76ers. We'll see how that plays out. But understand this, too. Owners love to play, and because, like the Philadelphia 76ers, at least you get one more home game that you can try to sell that building out. Tom Vecchio joins us next. Who's selling out in Major League Baseball? Come on back and find out next. Having fun on a Monday right here on the Early Line Sports Grid Network. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. Let's welcome in Tom Vecchio here to talk a little Major League Baseball, or if you want to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers win and in scenario where they get to the playoffs. Your choice, Tom, on a Monday.
I'm ready to roll for either. It's been a really exciting end to the NHL season. Teams in, teams out, fighting for literally every single point. But it's also baseball season, so I'm ready to roll.
Let's do it, Tom. Let's have some fun. But also, I know you're a Yankees fan right now, so let me start with this. What the heck is going on with the Yanks?
You know, I would say, considering how they started and how they're going right now, it doesn't look great. But if this happened in the middle of June or July, I don't think anyone would be talking about it. Like, yeah, 3-4 game losing streak isn't great. But considering they started off so strong, allowing one or no runs in their first handful of games, and they were dominating, to see this dramatic swing to the other side of the pendulum, it's a little worrisome knowing that they are both that they're just so inconsistent. But I think things will change and the offense will start hitting as we just get a bigger sample size.
Yeah, but Soto won't be back anytime soon. So I think the Yankees will eventually will turn it on. I mean, they lost a couple of heartbreakers in Tampa. The Mets, there is just it's unless you get Soto back in that lineup, how much faith do you have in them?
Little, because, you know, all bad things are like, I think they could at least tread water. Like if Bo Bichette was doing better and Lindor, who are both batting, what is it, like 230 for Bichette and Lindor still under 200. Listen, if they were hitting at their best, these are two all-stars, they could probably tread water. They could probably be fine. But because they're so terrible and Soto's missing at the same time, these things compound on top of each other. And listen, the pitching's been pretty good. Like, they had a couple starts against the Athletics this past weekend where they're getting deep into the game, 5th, 6th. They've only allowed 1-2 earned runs. Now, the bullpen's been a little bit of a different story. But at the Mets, things are troublesome right now.
No, things are troublesome right now. And again, it is still early in the season. You're trying to work some things out. And the Mets had a lot of roster turnover. They're trying to get involved. Who's going to play where, fielding the position. And also, Francisco Lindor can't get out of his own way, which now brings me to the Yankees once again. They're going to take on the Los Angeles Angels today. Kikuchi is going to take on Warren. Jazz Chisholm doesn't understand how to turn a double play or what outs actually are per inning. That could be troublesome. But the one thing I look at, Tom, Kikuchi's a lefty that you can hit. But when I look at the statistics early season on the Yankees against left-handed pitching, Aaron Judge, phenomenal. Paul Goldschmidt, very good. The rest of that lineup, horrible, Tom. How do you play that game out tonight between the Angels and the Yankees? Any looks in this one?
So I was looking to the Yankees team total at 4.5. It was juiced a little bit to the over at -136, -128. You know, I don't love that, but it's really warming up. And Kikuchi has been terrible. And Donnie, as you know, we've talked about him before. Like, he's been terrible this year. He's been terrible in years past as a pitcher that has an ERA in the 4s and the 5s and xFIP constantly that high. If they can't get it done against him, you know, this is where the warning signs and the trouble signs start to pop up again and again. I want to see a very dominant right-handed lineup in there for the Yankees. I think Jazz and Ben Rice should be the only lefties in the lineup for the Yankees today, and I think they got to pummel the Angels.
I think Jazz understands how double play works now, Tom? Just asking. Do you think maybe?
We'd like to think so at this point in anyone's career.
Okay. Not a problem. Just curious how that's going to work out over there. But listen, they go from bad to worse, right? So the Mets get swept by the Athletics. Now they got to take on the Dodgers and fly across the country here. So what are we thinking here? Does it go from bad to worse for the Mets?
I think so. And, you know, game totals could be a little bit tricky. You know, I'm leaning Mets team totals. Like, if I had to make plays on this, Mets team total unders would be interesting. The game total unders, if the Dodgers score 6 runs and the Mets put up, you know, 2 of their own, it's like you're going to be sweating that out. And obviously the Dodgers could then blow that game open, and then that's what caused the game to go under. So the Mets team totals is where I'd be leaning initially, because I don't want to trust. I don't want to fade the Dodgers offense. That's what I don't want to do, because the Dodgers could put up 10 runs against the Mets. If the Athletics can, and Tyler Soderstrom's hitting multiple home runs, of course we expect the Dodgers to do the same.
Yeah, it's interesting the way you look at it, too, because when you play the Dodgers, like, the best case scenario for your team is like, hopefully we can get one of these 3-game series. Right. But that's not really, like, the Mets aren't riding high. Like, hey, we won 5 out of 6. It's okay if we drop 2 out of 3. Like, you drop 2 out of 3. And the one thing I'll say for the Mets is they're probably happy that they're on the road in L.A. to take on the Dodgers. A losing streak, then the Dodgers come to town. It's a packed stadium. You're expecting fireworks, and typically the fireworks come from the fan base yelling at you on the field at this point. Now, Tom, last night, we saw a game in Major League Baseball. The Atlanta Braves, I thought it was a great matchup. A lot of lefties in the lineup. They could take care of business against the Guardians. They did 13-1. Sale was really good. Last year, Tom, we talked about the Braves and that start like, oh, no, it's bad. And then bad went the worst because everybody got injured. But how about the Braves now with a lot of teams scuffling here in the NL East? 10-6 on the season and a good start from Sale and a power performance from the Bats last night.
Yeah, really like the Braves coming into the season is something that you and I talked about. The Mets were being booked as the favorite, which I just thought was wrong. The Phillies were a short number behind the Mets, but I really said that the Braves were one of my favorite options to win the NL East. And it was really just the number that we were getting and not buying into the changes that the Mets had made. So, when we see and listen, Acuna has been off to a pretty slow start to, the season. He had just his first home run on Friday night or whatever it was. So the fact that he's struggling, but the rest of the lineup is doing so good, and you have replacement players with Mauricio Dubon stepping up and having good performances, and Drake Baldwin, the rookie of the year, is picking up right where he left off, and everyone's hitting, and Riley's hitting, and Matt Olson's hitting. When everyone is hitting, plus the pitching staff, which is still not at full health because Smith-Shawver and Schwellenbach and Strider aren't there, the fact that they're this good is really, really encouraging for them. So if the pitchers come back, even if they're not amazing when they come back, they still have a lot of upside.
I got to tell you, I could not have been more impressed with Arizona. I mean, winning 3 one-run games this weekend here. And Baltimore for there. Listen, the way they started, Baltimore all of a sudden starting to put it together as well. And I'm sure the Mets couldn't use Pete Alonso. But what are we thinking here? I think Kremer has been announced here for Baltimore, Nelson for Arizona tonight.
Yeah, the Baltimore Orioles lineup has been a bit perplexing to me, where I just wanted to buy into the hype so early, and they kind of fell flat. But to your point, they're starting to put it together. So I think they are in a good spot. I will also say the Red Sox first 5 run line minus half a run is minus 128. Their normal first 5 money line is minus 196. So look to back Crochet at minus 128 instead of minus 196.
You got the Phillies tonight at home taking on the Chicago Cubs, 2 teams that are a little bit floundering to start the season between those 2 years. But the Phillies, the rule of thumb for me, Tom, with my Phillies is they're only allowed to score in 1 inning. So they better pile up 7 or 8 runs because outside of that, they can't score. Yesterday, first and third, nobody out twice, no runs. Congratulations, Phillies. Thanks for joining us, Tom. We'll talk to you again. Major League Baseball in full swing, and so is the early line.
Process is closed. Let's call it out for what it is, right? And is it their fault? You could, they've been just besieged at Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
For those people who use YouTube, there's a new feature that is powered by AI. And what is this exactly, Simon?
So let's say you're watching Yankees highlights, and you can say, YouTube, when is the next game at Yankee Stadium? You see that information on the screen. How much is the cost? What seats are available? You see that information on the screen. All right, call the Yankee Stadium box office. I want to make a reservation for 2 tickets.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Am I going overboard when I'm saying that? I've never seen anything like this.
He's damn good, and it seems like he has an extra focus on pitching. I saw him pitch with the Angels and hit with the Angels, and it seemed like hitting was what he was trying to prove. Maybe because guys like John Smoltz would come out and said, "Oh, he should be a pitcher only."
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Shocking reality, I think, for college basketball. Certainly the purists to see a legendary school struggle to land a current college heavyweight. But this is the new world order. Mike Malone is either going to be the greatest hire in modern college basketball history, or North Carolina is going to be conducting another incredibly expensive coaching search in the next couple of seasons.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, no, the Dodgers, they can't have this high of a payroll. You can't afford to pay Shohei Ohtani, who feels like $1 billion over his career, get away with that and still be profitable. And what happens if he doesn't, Joe, live up to expectations? Well, I think he's living up to expectations and actually, could I say, outperforming his contract here. Take a look at this Sarah Lang's tweet here. Shohei Ohtani currently has the longest active on-base streak in Major League Baseball, which is 46 games. Well, I haven't played that many games this year, obviously. Dates back to last year. How about the longest active streak of consecutive innings pitched without allowing an earned run among starting pitchers? 28 and 2/3 of an inning there. What can't he do, Joe?
Well, it's not that, well, I mean, he can do anything he wants, but the question isn't on a given night what he can do, because on a given night he can go 4 for 4, 2 home runs, and shut you out for 7 innings. And very few people have ever been able to do that. My question heading into this year, Donnie, was, can you do it over a 162-game season? And because something at some point has to give, you would think, right? So is the hitting going to suffer? Is the pitching going to... You know, as great as he is and as Superman as he is, 162-game grind, that's what I'm waiting to see, is which one of those things starts to slip. Is it the hitting or is it the pitching? Because I think we forget he didn't pitch last year until the very end, but I'm going to be interested to see which one gets affected more over the 162-game season.
How about one sitting in a downward slide right now? It's the Big Apple. The Yankees and the Mets have both lost 5 games in a row. You want to talk about pitchers not stepping up? Check. You want to talk about hitters not stepping up? Check. You want to talk about stupid mental errors on both sides from elite players? Checkmate here. The Yankees and the Mets. When is it going to end, Joe?
Well, and the amazing part is that the hitting you weren't worried about. The pitching, you were like, yeah, right. Why is everyone going to be, you know, because don't forget, you got Cole and you got Rodon still coming. But the pitching has been fantastic. Right. And the hitting, I mean, a couple of very, very tough one-run losses there against Tampa Bay over the week. Games they could have, should have won, but did not. So I think at least health-wise, as long as they remain as healthy as they are, they'll be fine, because the hitting, Donnie, you know, once we get out of April, it'll be there for the Yankees. But right now, it's a struggle, and teams are going through it early in the season here.
How about going through it? Not Jose Soriano. By the way, the Los Angeles Angels are now 8-8 after their victory yesterday, 9-6 over the Cincinnati Reds. So you might have figured yourself like, Jose Soriano's been really good. He got touched up, but they still won that baseball game. That's not it. The bullpen got touched up, not Soriano. How about his first 4 starts on the Major League Baseball season, Joe? 27 innings pitched, 31 strikeouts, a .33 ERA, an 0.67 whip, and a batting average against at 103. The man is dominating for the Angels.
Well, he's dominating because he's not walking guys, Donnie, and he's a ground ball guy. So he's been able to keep the ball in the ballpark and on the ground, and good things will happen there. He's got a lot of great swing and miss pitches that he's been utilizing. I mean, kudos. He's a first 5 monster, Donnie, because once you get to that bullpen of the Angels, it's a bit of a different story. But Soriano is kind of a guy where you wanna single him out early and often in games.
Yesterday, Pro Baseball Today, myself and Craig Mish talked about some of these players that might be tradable in Major League Baseball coming up towards the deadline. One of those guys that's up there real high in the predictive markets, Joe, it's actually Fernando Tatis. You say, well, why would that be? Maybe just can't compete with the likes of the Los Angeles Dodgers or San Francisco this year. But also, when your pitching staff already starts to break down, Nick Pivetta left the game with right elbow stiffness. We know, Joe, what that leads to.
Yeah, you know very well where that leads to. And unfortunately, I don't know what it is with these Padres starters over the last couple of years. It's like you can't get Musgrove back. You know, you got all of these guys just seem to be, you're getting hurt left and right. Good thing they got a good bullpen, Donnie, because they're going to have to use them a lot here, I think, moving forward.
No doubt. Arizona, by the way, going to take on Baltimore today. Kramer's on the mound versus Nelson. Just talked about that with Tom. 8.5 is a total. Slight favorite to Baltimore here. Ryan Nelson comes into this game really struggling with left-handed batters. In the lineup anticipated tonight for the Orioles, Joe, lefty Gunnar Henderson, lefty Basillo, lefty Beavers, lefty Tavares, lefty Cower here. Do we get some runs? 7-8 degrees and a double-digit one blowing out to right field, Joe. You got to like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Nelson's given up 2 home runs and 3 walks apiece in his first 2 games. So I think runs might be coming in this game here today.
And by the way, also, Kramer's going to get that first start of the season. But how about this last year? Struggled against left-handed batters. You had as many as 7 left-handed batters in the lineup tonight for the Diamondbacks. Let's get 9 runs. Why not? Hour number 2 comes up next, right here on the early line.
Process is closed. Let's call it out for this, right? And is it their fault? You could argue, you know, they've been just besieged at Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
For those people who use YouTube, there's a new feature that is powered by AI. And what is this exactly, Simon?
So let's say you're watching Yankees highlights, and you can say, YouTube, when is the next game at Yankee Stadium? You see that information on the screen. How much is the cost? What seats are available? You see that information on the screen. All right, call the Yankee Stadium box office. I want to make a reservation for 2 tickets.
Newswire only on SportsGrid.
Am I going overboard when I'm saying that? I've never seen anything like this.
He's damn good, and it seems like he has an extra focus on pitching. I saw him pitch with the Angels and hit with the Angels, and it seemed like hitting was what he was trying to prove. Maybe because guys like John Smoltz would come out and said, "Oh, he should be a pitcher only."
Outspoken with Dan Cilio only on SportsGrid.
Shocking reality, I think, for college basketball. Certainly the purists to see a legendary school struggle to land a current college heavyweight. But this is the new world order. Mike Malone is either going to be the greatest hire in modern college basketball history, or North Carolina is going to be conducting another incredibly expensive coaching search in the next couple of seasons.
The Early Line only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 officially underway right here on the early line for a Monday morning on the SportsGrid Network. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. A lot of fun topics. And also Kevin Walsh going to join us in the next segment here. Get caught up on what's taking place in the NBA now that the playoffs are officially here. But a lot of good stuff to talk about in hour number 2, which includes best bets to get the week started off in style. And also some prediction markets edge halfway through this hour, Joe. Good times, great topics.
A lot of fun stuff happening this week here. We get a night off again of some bad basketball, but it'll resume on tomorrow. Yeah. So we're good there. Playoffs will be here before you know it. And, yeah, a lot of Major League Baseball wedged in between here. And we got to start getting ready and thinking about the next major now that Rory is the man.
That's true. And also, Joe, getting ready for the WNBA season, which is coming up soon. And some of the ladies starting to get paid here as free agency going through with the new CBA. And how about this, Joe? Azura Stevens, 3-year deal, $1 million base, 5% annual increase with the Sky. Hamby returns to Los Angeles on a fully guaranteed 3-year, $3.5 million deal, Joe. Just some of those hot topics there to get started off. Free agency in the WNBA, $1 million deals being signed, Joe. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because there are still some names that are out there that have to get some deals here, but I believe Kelsey Plum taking a bit of a discount there in a lot of people's minds. Yeah, which kudos, I give a credit here, but there's still a lot of big names here. Not looking to change teams, but the question is, Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart, what are we getting? How much you paying? How much you going to get them on the check there? Because that was what this whole lockout was about. They want more money Well, the game superstars are going to want more money there, Donnie. I can't wait to see how much they get.
Now, let's get to the Kelsey Plum agreement here because we scream, we kick, we claw, we fight in the WNBA. We don't get paid nearly what we're worth. She was eligible for $1.4 million and then just had a contract that's now just under $1 million. Are we skirting some tax code somewhere? Or like, why would you sign for $400,000 worth when all you did was kick and scream? You're not getting paid what you're worth, but take a discount here. Am I missing something, or is it just being in Los Angeles where I can make more money off the court? It's not worth me going to another city. I couldn't figure this one out.
Well, according to her camp, it was all about giving the Sparks an opportunity because that $1.4 million is considered a supermax deal, right? Which she was eligible for, right? But she wanted to give the Sparks the financial flexibility in order to be able to re-sign some players because she's going championship shopping. That's the point in her career where she's at right now. Kelsey Plum is like, listen, we saw Tom Brady do this forever, and it's actually kind of refreshing if that's really the case here. Well, I'll take less, but you better reinvest that somewhere in this team so we can make a run at this.
Like when we talk about like those superstar players, like, hey man, I could have made $300 million, cut it back to $265 to try to save it for the team. Like, yeah, he's still at $265, but a $1.4 million down to under $1 million. Let's call it $1 million bucks. That is a massive reduction. I guess if you could put that in the words like Patrick Mahomes, you're worth $60 million a year. Let me take $20 million and reinvest it. Being like, wait a second, something else is going on here that we might not know about. Thought it was interesting. If it is true that it's just, hey, I want to have a better team, that's amazing. But there's got to be some underlying metrics here of why you fight to get your money. Everybody else is taking maxes, but you don't take the max at this point. Now, we'll find out sooner than later on this, but let's get to some of the other early topics here, Joe, on the early line. Rory McIlroy, back-to-back green jackets, $4.5 million in his pocket, and maybe he found the secret sauce. I'm not going to play those 3 tournaments leading up to the Masters. I'm just going to play Augusta National, and then I'm going to go tear it up here. Could others, Joe, follow along? But Rory, he went back-to-back.
Well, not unless they got the talent he does, and more importantly, the moxie to be able to win. It'll inevitably go hard left at Augusta. We all know this. But what separates the real champions, Donnie, is those that can adjust and don't let it bury them. And what Rory learned last year was how to fight through adversity, get it done, and he did exactly the same thing this year, where he thought he had it all in the bag come Saturday, and then he let everybody back into the tournament. But ultimately, it didn't matter because nobody was good enough to catch him on Sunday.
No, they weren't. By the way, we talked a lot in those predictive markets about who's actually going to get a hole-in-one. Is it possible here? The only chance possibly on 16. Got a hole-in-one, and it wasn't even on 16 here. An exciting Masters all the way through as we saw it. Can't wait for next year's edition of that. But the NBA's new edition of the playoffs starts right now. Well, technically it starts tomorrow, but we can get ready for it now. The play-ins, Joe, the bracket is set. The top seeds, OKC and Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there were some interesting results yesterday, Donnie, because they set up some interesting paths to actually trying to play for a championship. I think the Spurs blew a golden opportunity yesterday by sitting Wemby. I think Orlando should be ashamed of themselves for not actually beating all of the backups of Boston with an opportunity to avoid the play-in game. But here we are, Donnie, with a chance. They've got an opportunity to beat Philly, but wouldn't shock me if they don't beat Philly either. That's how bad some of these games are going to be in the play-in.
Some NBA coaching talk here. Doc Rivers out with the Milwaukee Bucks and Doug Christie back in for Sacramento here. How about that, Joe? A couple little coaching advantages, but Doc Rivers, he had to go. Dude had to go.
Least shocking story of the weekend right there, Donnie. No kidding. But you know what? He'll end up with another team somewhere, and they too will tank eventually.
As KGB once said in Rounders, pay the man his money. When you win national championships, you're getting extensions and a pay bump, which is exactly what Dusty May got from Michigan.
Strike while that iron is hot. That's what it is all about there, Donnie, right? When you win national championships, just ask Harbaugh how they'll look the other way. And I'm sorry, how much they'll pay you, I meant to say. How much they'll pay you when you win national championships. And yes, Dusty May, well-deserved, by the way. Very well-deserved.
Milwaukee Brewers don't like this, and it's not well-deserved that Christian Yelich's going to be down for some time. Here's Pat Murphy, the manager, talking about some fluid in there, Joe.
we're most likely going to get some bad news on Yelich. Yeah, I felt a little twinge in his hamstring, and we're getting it imaged right now. There is some fluid in there, so, let's wait and see. He wanted to stay in the game, but just like everything else.
Fluid. That's blood, Joe. That's bad. He's going to be down a couple weeks. But again, I'm telling you right now, these athletes, Joe. Hey, I felt a little twinge back there. No, you didn't. That thing ripped, man. You're out for weeks and weeks, brother. Weeks.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, Donnie, it's such a shocker, too, because he's always been such a wealth of health in his career, honestly. I'm shocked that he's back on the shelf again now. Shocker.
What is it, back? Used to be backs, knees, legs,
yep.
whatever it might be. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
You know who's not on the shelf? Or I should say, who's on the shelf again with a trophy? That's Denver University. Looks like that's the birthplace of hockey here, at least if you want to win some national championships, no?
It's Donnie, I'm telling you, man, ask any high school hockey player right now, and you'd be like, where you want to go? BU? You want to go to Michigan?
Yeah.
You want to go? Nope, Denver. And you're like, Denver? No, that is the preeminent hockey school in the country right now, and they just showed it again.
Sadness in Major League Baseball, Phil Garner, 3-time Major League Baseball All-Star and former manager, does pass away, Joe. Never like to see that.
Yeah, one of the true good guys in the game there. I remember him as a player. I think I still have his baseball card sitting around somewhere, Donnie, but was an even better manager than he was a player, too.
Exactly. Now we have a little bit of time to spin our wheels here on this, Joe. We don't get to talk much about the NHL, but they also are coming down the stretch. And how about this? Carolina in Philadelphia, which Carolina actually needs this game as well. The Flyers at home win and in for the first time in 5 years. It's been over a decade since we had COVID there that the Flyers have had a home playoff game. Do they choke? Do they win? Does Vladar carry him in? And also, Porter Martone. Could he be the next superstar in hockey, Joe? Just want to spend a little time talking about those Flyers.
Yeah, but you and I both know we're going to be having a different conversation about the Flyers here in the near future, one that unfortunately will not see them in the postseason.
Well, you want to have that conversation with the better hockey team, the Flyers or the Florida Panthers, we can have that conversation as well. Oh, no! He didn't do that, did he? Yeah, he did. Kevin Walsh is up next. Stick around.
Process is closed. Let's call it out for this, right? And is it their fault? You could, they've been just besieged at Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
For those people who use YouTube, there's a new feature that is powered by AI. And what is this exactly, Simon?
So let's say you're watching Yankees highlights, and you can say, YouTube, when is the next game at Yankee Stadium? You see that information on the screen. How much is the cost? What seats are available? You see that information on the screen. All right, call the Yankee Stadium box office. I want to make a reservation for 2 tickets.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Am I going overboard when I'm saying that? I've never seen anything like this.
He's damn good, and it seems like he has an extra focus on pitching. I saw him pitch with the Angels and hit with the Angels, and it seemed like hitting was what he was trying to prove. Maybe because guys like John Smoltz would come out and said, "Oh, he should be a pitcher only."
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Shocking reality, I think, for college basketball. Certainly the purists to see a legendary school struggle to land a current college heavyweight. But this is the new world order. Mike Malone is either going to be the greatest hire in modern college basketball history, or North Carolina is going to be conducting another incredibly expensive coaching search in the next couple of seasons.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's get after it, people. Fun on a Monday? Absolutely. Postmasters tournament here. We're waiting on the NHL to solidify their bracket, but in the NBA, we got those brackets finalized. Now let's get after it here. It's Donnie Rightside, it's Joe Ranieri, as we welcome in Kevin Walsh on this Monday. Heating up on the East Coast in more ways than one this week, Kevin.
Yeah, we got a lot happening here. We certainly do. Playoff set. Tonight's the WNBA draft. As well, Major League Baseball, a couple of good series, so we got some good items here.
Good items nonetheless, and also some players getting paid in the WNBA, some players taking less than the WNBA. That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the NBA. Finalized, Kevin. Play-ins are here into the first rounds, and I got to tell you this. I said, you know what? I get angry at start time so many times, Kevin. Now, we're going to enjoy these playing games because it's playoff. Some of these are win and lose, go home. Some of these, okay, we lost, we get a second chance. We get that. But once we get to Saturday, Kevin, we got a beautiful slate spread out perfectly. Final game of the day at 8:30. Everybody can watch and play, and I get excited. But, Kevin, what excites you the most about this playing round?
Man, oh, man. I don't know if it excites me, but I am blown away at the, and I mean, Donnie, obviously, you know, close to you, the scheduling conflict that has Sixers Magic moved to Wednesday, canceling out the rest advantage you are supposed to get for playing in the 7-8 game. I'm not entirely sure, considering it is, if the favorites hold, actually supposed to hurt Orlando instead of Philly. The Magic should have said, well, we can host the game Tuesday, so we now host the game. This is nonsense that we have to play later and are the road team here. That, I know you were getting into it earlier a little bit too, right, Joe? Just that loss from the Magic. Like, there's a couple of teams where, like, a loss would have been embarrassing, but there's not many where it would have mattered. Orlando was one of the few that mattered and was embarrassing.
Very embarrassing here, but the reality is one of those teams has to advance here from these play-in games here. And I don't know, of all of these teams, I thought Phoenix and Portland is the most fascinating here, with two teams that I think might actually be able to punch above their weight. I don't trust any of the others. I don't care who comes out. I don't try. They're all one and dones as far as I'm concerned. No.
I think Charlotte is the most interesting because we have enough evidence. You guys go through the numbers every day, right?
Yeah.
I think Charlotte is booked like one of the 5 best teams in the East, I would argue. They are at best an 8 seed. With the way the play-in broke, Detroit will be favored, but it is incredibly rare. You could get a 1 versus 8 where you go, these are both good basketball teams, and they hate each other. We are, again, people have talked about the grind the regular season has been, and you need multiple rewards. Like, to be honest, Denver beating San Antonio in the regular season finale is really a reward because if chalk holds, we get Jokic Wemby in round 2, right? Okay, that's a reward. Pistons Hornets, for the fans, that's a reward. I don't, does anybody really want to watch Pistons Magic? That's NBA TV. That's NBA TV the whole way through.
Exactly, and they played at their practice facility. They used to do the summer league there. Like, we can't even sell at the arena on this where people would get excited. But let me ask you a question, Kevin. We're going to flip it over. We'll get to baseball in just a few moments. I know we got to talk about your Yankees struggling. The Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to tie this in. We don't have to get into specifics, but all we keep hearing is, man, what's all these rumblings between Diana Rossini tweets here coming out and now Mike Vrabel comes out? Let's skip over that and get to the A.J. Brown, topics here. Dontavian Wicks signs with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's not a number 1 wide receiver, but you can't look at the Eagles wide receiver room now leading up to the draft and say, if A.J. Brown stays, this is the greatest wide receiving class that they have in-house in the history of the game, which means, is A.J. Brown now officially actually gone on June the 1st? Because I was always under the impression they're keeping A.J. It doesn't make any sense at this point. Can you bring A.J. Brown and have all of those guys in the wide receiver room when they were coming to blows last year anyway about getting targets? Or does that signify, Kevin, he's gone either at the draft, which I don't think can happen here based on the salary cap implications, but June 1, is A.J. Brown officially gone from the Eagles?
Yeah, I thought would be gone for a while now. I thought all the reporting told us that basically Philly said we're going to have 2 rounds of conversations. We're going to do the one where somebody gives us so much, we'll deal with the pre-June 1 dead cap. And then we'll do the second one in June, where it is what it is. And I think Philly bringing in Dontavian Wicks got their ducks in a row to where they don't want to be on the clock on April 23rd, needing a wide receiver who has to replace A.J. Brown. That becomes a whole lot of pressure. We've seen things like, remember when Tennessee got rid of A.J. Brown and the pressure they put on Treylon Burks, and that never worked out. So Philly might draft wide receiver in round 1. They gave themselves a bit of flexibility, I thought, though. Here's the thing about, not to get into that whole thing, really, right?
Yeah.
The Rossini Vrabel of it all. The A.J. Brown press conferences still happened, okay? Like, A.J. Brown still said all those things. A.J.'s time in Philly, I do believe, is near its end.
I wouldn't. I think it was over 2 years ago, but that's all right. He'll be wearing a different. I'm just saying. It feels like there's only so many.
Though. It was over as they won a Super Bowl. Like
exactly.
he was, he was miserable a week later. Like he was like, I didn't catch enough touchdowns in that game.
Yes.
It's 100%.
There's not enough books on the sideline in Philly for him. Let me ask you this though, because he did mention it. Yankees and the Mets both going through it right now. I'm less concerned about the Yankees than I am the Mets, who've got some serious issues. But it just feels like they lost a couple of one-run games they could have won in Tampa, but it feels like they'll be fine.
So I guess the thing with the Mets though, Joe, is we go, oh yeah, Soto's not around, right? You get a little bit of leeway. For the Yankees, they're not hitting, and we go, well, eventually they'll start hitting. But the design of the Yankees, to me, to be a regular season powerhouse is Judge be the best player, the best hitter in baseball, and the pitching handle their business. It's still a completely unfair amount they put on Judge's. There isn't another lock all-star in that lineup. So when the lineup struggles, it's not that surprising.
And they got a lefty on the mound today that they should be able to handle, but they don't hit left-handed pitching all the way out. Oh, no, Yankees! Resurrect yourselves here. By the way, that's Kevin Walsh. Catch him tonight on Game Time Decisions, 6 p.m. right here on the Sports Grid Network. Thanks for joining us, Kevin. See ya.
Process is closed. Let's call it out for this, right? And is it their fault? You could, they've been just besieged at Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid.
For those people who use YouTube, there's a new feature that is powered by AI. And what is this exactly, Simon?
So let's say you're watching Yankees highlights, and you can say, YouTube, when is the next game at Yankee Stadium? You see that information on the screen. How much is the cost? What seats are available? You see that information on the screen. All right, call the Yankee Stadium box office. I want to make a reservation for 2 tickets.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Am I going overboard when I'm saying that? I've never seen anything like this.
He's damn good, and it seems like he has an extra focus on pitching. I saw him pitch with the Angels and hit with the Angels, and it seemed like hitting was what he was trying to prove. Maybe because guys like John Smoltz would come out and said, "Oh, he should be a pitcher only."
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Shocking reality, I think, for college basketball. Certainly the purists to see a legendary school struggle to land a current college heavyweight. But this is the new world order. Mike Malone is either going to be the greatest hire in modern college basketball history, or North Carolina is going to be conducting another incredibly expensive coaching search in the next couple of seasons.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Early line on a Monday. Great times here. Just Kevin stopping by, talking a little bit of action here. The NBA playoffs going to start this week. The Yankees are struggling. But let's go a little bit more in depth here on the Yankees struggling. Here's Aaron Judge talking about it.
Aaron, why do you think this offense has struggled so much to put runs on the board consistently?
Just got to drive some tough at-bats, but I think we just need to simplify some things at the plate, trying to hit every single pitch we see up there and kind of getting ourselves in some bad counts and bad situations. So I think just as a group, we simplify some things, simplify our approach a little bit, hunt the pitch that we're looking for and kind of pass the baton. I think we'll be in a better spot.
When you guys come into a season with such high expectations, how tough is a stretch like this, five losses in a row, and now going to the Dodgers and having to deal with that?
Yeah, I've been a part of big expectations, and I've been a part of, slower starts offensively. So, nobody likes losing. That's the best I can put it. But I think if we got our heads down or worried too much about this, then we got bigger issues.
Bichette's got no answers there, Joe. That's what I just took out of that. Come on now.
Yeah, I just heard. Yeah, okay, thanks. That's great. Great answer. Unreal.
As better answers, let's reach out to the public and see what they're digging on today. Here's our Fade the Public poll. Simple question here asked, and based off what we just saw from the Masters, which was Rory McIlroy, a PGA Tour player winning that championship. Second place was Scottie Scheffler, also a PGA member. So how many of the remaining major tournaments will have a winner from LIV? 0, 1, more than one here, Joe. I got to tell you, if Rory is playing as well as he is, and Scottie Scheffler we know will be there, I don't know if we're going to get a major champion here from that golf tour that's LIV.
Well, you got two shots. Yeah. You got Rahm and DeChambeau, and neither showed up this weekend. So it's, but again, styles make fights, and Rahm and DeChambeau, I think, are much more suited for the U.S. Open or maybe the PGA coming up than anything else. So, but yeah, listen, between Rory and Scottie, to me, that's number one, number two in the world. So good luck beating them in any major.
Absolutely. Good luck with that. But I tell you what, we don't need luck for, Joe. It's a new week. It's new money. Here come our best bets, and bye. Let's dig in, Joe. No NBA action tonight, which means I got to cross over to a little bit of Major League Baseball, which we'll get to in just a few moments, Joe. But where do we go tonight for your best bet?
Well, I'm going to go out west because I don't think Major League Baseball and the schedulers did the Athletics any favors here after an East Coast swing, sweeping the Mets. Now they had to hop on a plane and fly out west and play tonight in that minor league ballpark, and they threw Severino on the mound here tonight, who is all we already know he hates this ballpark, and he usually gets tattooed here, not to mention he's not exactly lights out so far this season. And you've got a Rangers team who's been out west, just came off a win on Sunday against the Dodgers. Good to see DeGrom back at it there. So with Eovaldi on the mound, advantage Texas as far as I'm concerned. Severino wants nothing to do with this ballpark, and every time he's pitched there, it has been ugly. I think it's going to be ugly again here tonight for the Athletics. I'm on the Rangers.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to take a look at a total tonight in Major League Baseball, Joe. Arizona's going to be in town to take on the Baltimore Orioles. They handle their business. Talk about the Diamondbacks against the Philadelphia Phillies. But let's take a look at this over 8.5 and why it makes some sense. Dean Kramer going to get his first start of his Major League Baseball season underway tonight. Last year, he did struggle at times with left-handed batters. If we take a look at this lineup today, Ketel Marte will be a lefty, Corbin Carroll will be a lefty, Perdomo a lefty, Castillo a lefty. That's the first four guys in that lineup. Then you filter through Vargas as well as Thomas late in that lineup, and also Barossa, who is a switch hitter. You might have as many as 7 left-handed batters in the lineup tonight. Now let's flip it back over to Baltimore side of things, going up against Ryan Nelson. He also struggles against left-handed batters. Tonight, lefties in the lineup: Henderson, Basallo, Beavers, Tavares, and Cowser in that lineup. So we're looking at a left-handed heavy lineup for both sides of the equation tonight, and we factor in the hitting temperatures in Baltimore tonight, Joe. 77 degrees at first pitch and a double-digit wind blowing out to right field, which means lefties pulling the baseball, home runs to right field, maybe heading off the warehouse. Give me, Joe, over 8.5 runs tonight in Baltimore.
Yeah, I took it in the first 5 as well, Donnie. I think runs are coming here across the board.
Let's get after it tonight. A 2-0 start to the week, which is how we get down to business. And also, Predictive Markets Edge is coming to you next. Show Raniere and Donnie right side. The fun continues. Keep that dial right here on the Sports Grid Network.
So much to get into.
So much to get into, so little time. Listen, this is a time of year where it's great basketball. Teams that have to be at their best. Some teams at their best for 40 minutes. Some teams at their best for 36 minutes. But at the end of the day, you got to play your best. Otherwise, you're going home like we saw over the last couple of days.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Why are all these contracts being signed, folks? Yes, the players are talented. Yes, they are deserving of it, but it's such goodwill to hand out these buyout arbitration contracts for these young players this time of the year, right before opening day, to get all their fans excited. And notice, right before the Pirates' home opener, not before opening day, before their home opener, it's a setup.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as a favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manute Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.